the Senate and the House better than most of you do, and indeed he's had long experience in Congress and in the White House. So how does a situation like this arise where he has to issue a statement, a lengthy one, clarifying himself? You all have to reassure people on Capitol Hill. Did he underestimate the blowback that he was going to get from Republicans by making the statement that he did about, wanting to do these bills in tandem?
I know there's a lot of interest in kind of rehashing the last several days. I get it. We're not going to do that. We're going to focus on our efforts moving forward. And right now, as you saw, a number of Republicans go out on Sunday shows yesterday and talk about their commitment to getting this package forward, their commitment to delivering these benefits to the American people. I just started out talking about the broad support from governors, labor unions, others in moving this package forward. And the president's going to go out to Wisconsin and sell this package to the American people tomorrow. That's where our focus is on.
Along those same lines, then, in terms of moving forward, you mentioned earlier that the White House is in touch with a range of lawmakers on Capitol Hill. You mentioned some of the other support.
Yeah.
But specifically, can you talk about outreach to liberal members of Congress? Are you guys in touch with the Progressive Caucus? There's obviously been some concern on the left about negotiating too much with Republicans. What reassurances, if any, have you given to liberal members of Congress on this front?
Well, absolutely. We're in touch with members of from all parts of all parts of the Democratic Party, a range of members in the Republican Party. Absolutely. Some are the president's directly in touch with, but our legislative team, senior members of the White House team are absolutely engaged with, listening to, conveying, making the case for why there are key components of this infrastructure package that should be supported by a broad range of members of our party. And I will note that there are a couple of components, and some areas where there hasn't been probably enough information out there about the benefits, in areas where I think a number of members of the progressive wing of the Democratic Party would be excited about and support. And certainly I mentioned earlier, removing lead from drinking water. That is something that, as I noted in response to Major, there are 400,000 schools, 10 million homes that could benefit, millions of kids who would benefit from that. Also, expansion of broadband. It's a national disgrace that African American families are 9% less likely to have high-speed internet than their white peers, and Latino Americans are 15% less likely. It will help address that. Also, access to transportation. Americans who are trying to get to work, including communities of color that are twice as likely to take public transit but often have fewer good transit options. That's just one component. If you go to climate, which is an area where I think we still are going to continue to do more work, making sure people across the country and people who care deeply about addressing our climate crisis know the components of what's in this package, which the president considers a down payment, not the end, a down payment. So 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations nationwide. That's what this would help support, with a focus on our highways and rural and disadvantaged communities. It would help buy more than 35,000 electric school buses. It will include the largest investment in clean energy transmission in American history. Will strengthen and revitalize our natural infrastructure, and it represents the largest effort ever to address legacy pollution. These are all areas that a lot of people in the Democratic Party are excited about historically, should be excited about, and we're going to continue to make the case and make sure we're conveying this and the American Families Plan and the components there are what we're going to continue to advocate for.
Is tomorrow's speech mainly about the bipartisan infrastructure bill or about the American families? Like, how much of tomorrow is going to be about that deal versus the American Families Plan?
Tomorrow we'll primarily focus on the infrastructure package and the components in the infrastructure package, but the president will absolutely also be out there in the future continuing to make the case for why universal pre-K, something that makes it 50% more likely that kids will graduate from high school, should be law. Making sure community college, 2 years of it, is free for people across the country. Extension of the child tax credit. Those are all pieces he will be out there advocating for in the future. Go ahead, David.
Jennifer, I can take you